What is up, bros? Me, Josh here. In today's video, we are going over the best ships for each role in clan battles for Season 2. And if you didn't know, Season 2 has been underway for about a week now, and you have almost 2 months to get out there and get your 30 wins, to get your second stolen grand flag, or get your first, whatever you're going for, or just go out there, play with your friends, have some fun. This season's actually a little bit more. We're getting 4-hour time slots instead of 3 like last season, and you can go out there and get a little bit more time for some more wins, a little bit more time for some more games, get out there, get your rewards, and have fun. Now, remember, each patch that's coming out, you get a new set of rental ships. This patch is the Montana, the Montana, the Zhao, and the Grozavoy. So 2 really good ships, 1 pretty mediocre ship. But let's go into battleships. The strongest battleship, again, for the second season in a row. Most of these are going to be basically about the same in order. I think maybe my ideas of some of these will change, but easily, Montana is still the best. It's going to have one of the lowest detections of this tier, shooting out 12. You know, battleships, since there is only 1 battleship per team, that's the max, it's all about quantity, really over quality. You want to get as many times, you know, people are going to be hiding, people are going to be, posted around, so most time battleships really aren't going to be detected too much, and if they are, you want to burn them down as fast as possible, do as much damage, so you want that low detectability. Most teams aren't running too many destroyers either, so it's a cruiser-heavy meta, and, the Montana is the best cruiser killer that there is at this tier, and it's still insane, shooting out 12 big shells, and it's going to be easily the best battleship for clan battles. Number 2 is probably going to be the Amato. The Amato is still the Amato, battleship for battleship. AP against this thing, you can still just bow pen and be amazing. It's still the lol pen king of tier 10. Its secondaries are very effective as well. Also a relatively low detection, just a little bit outside of the Montana, but still this thing can be very effective. Some top clans are using the Amato. I think the Montana just overall is a little bit better because most of the time with the Amato, you're going to only be getting your front 2 turrets out because you're going to be in a very good kind of bow-in situation, be relatively thin. The Montana can kind of use its detection and kind of get a little bit more of an angle and angle away. The Amato, though, overall is still a really good ship. Secondaries, too, it's brutal, 1v1, and then, of course, pushing into, let's say, a Montana, you're going to absolutely just shred it with your AP and be very, very effective. It's still the Law King pin of tier 10 battleships, and the Law Pen King. I don't know what I just said, Kingpin, whatever. It's not a drug dealer. And Amato's still a pretty strong second. I just think the Montana overall is just better. It's a better destroyer killer, it's a better cruiser killer, and that's what you're going to be seeing most of the season, not battleship for battleship, which is where the Amato excels. Now, Conqueror. Last season, I thought the Conqueror was going to be the best. This is the first tier 10 of an anti-battleship. Now, if there's a ton of battleships, this thing's going to do great. Massive HE, massive heals, super low detection, but still, this thing, ever since its nerfs too to its healing time and repair time, it just can get absolutely melted. We have never had problems with Conquerors playing, and really, if you just focus a Conqueror down, since its armor layout, it really just gets absolutely shredded. That deck armor gets by 203s just gets absolutely punished, and you can just burn this thing down to the ground. It does get its insane heals, but if you have a good destroyer, it'll keep it spotted, and you can just absolutely obliterate this thing and just alpha damage it down, and then bye-bye Conqueror. Still, though, this thing can be very, very effective. If you play very, very cautiously, you can be very good with this thing with the lowest detection of all tier 10 battleships. It's very good in that aspect. You can get in kind of an aggressive spot. You basically only get 1 or 2 your zombie heals, but most of the time, while you're waiting for those heals to go up, you're going to be out of the fight, which is something the Conqueror or Battleship can't really do. The Battleship needs to be there to be ready for that shot when needed. So if you're going in aggressively with this thing, you're going to have some trouble. Now, I haven't seen too many big clans using the Conqueror. I think a couple tried it in the first season, but in the second season, it's going to be a third place battleship for me because of its effectiveness against other ships with its HE. But I still think it's a pretty distant third behind the Montana and the Amato. And bringing up the rear, in my opinion, of course, now people can play it differently, is the Grosser. It's by far the biggest battleship. It's by far the widest battleship. It's a big battleship, right? So comparing that to the Montana, it's just not quite as wide. The Kerfers is a big ship, and that's a lot of wooden deck there. So what does that do with you have Hindenburgs? When you have Hindenburgs and you have Zals and you have Moscows just beating down these things, although has the biggest health pool, also has the highest detection of any tier 10 battleship. Now this is without a concealment expert, but it has the highest detection of any tier 10. So most of the time, if you see a Kerfers, it's just I wouldn't say a free kill, but it is a free damage farm for your guys with your cruisers. It's too big to really be effective. Now this thing is great in randoms because you can go in and be aggressive with the secondaries, but you can't really use those when it becomes. And there we go. Tonight's clan battles have started, but honestly, the Kurfürst I just think is a little bit too weak compared to other ships at this role. I gotta put it forth. Highest detection. What it's good at isn't effective in clan battles, and that is the brawling. And I mean, I'm not saying it's not a good battleship. It's just gonna get so picked on, and you're gonna have a massive disadvantage if you have any of those. But again, this round's rental is the Montana, so it's a fantastic pick for your battleship. If you don't have one of the battleships for your clans, you can pick it up by playing a tier 8 game. You unlock the rentals for that patch. So there you go. Probably the best battleship overall. But these are the battleships, in my opinion, for Season 2 of Clan Battles. Now for cruisers, this has changed a little bit since last season. Still, though, Hindenburg, this is still number one by far. It has no weakness. I think the only weakness you can maybe talk about is its speed. But this thing's perfect ever since the buff to German HE. It's insane. This thing has one of the highest DPMs of any of the cruisers, and it's just insane. You can shred broadside battleships from range. You can just be super effective. A Des Moines, this thing. If I'm playing, when I play my Hindenburg through the clan battles, I want to see as many Des Moines as possible because I can just beat them at range. They can't do anything to me because of the arc. So low trajectory, good sonar, good range, good everything, good AP, good HE, good. Everything's good. There is no weakness to this ship. Most clans are bringing 2, 3, potentially 4 of these out of the 7, and the more of the Hindenburgs you're seeing, it is definitely a problem. So Hindenburg is still the king of tier 10 cruisers for Season 2. Number 2 overall, this is a bit of a change for me, but I think is the Des Moines, because I think the Des Moines and Hindenburg are so far 1 and 2, because the Des Moines is that situational ship. It's really hard. This thing is the king of DPM between about, I would say, about 10-12 kilometers into about 6 kilometers, and then I think the Hindenburg takes it back because of its rate of fire. It's able to bounce with its armor and its radar. It's so good. With no CVs, you can run radar and sonar, so you're basically super effective against destroyers and can hold an absolute cap down almost by yourself. If a destroyer knows a DM is there and we can't get shots on it, he can't really go into that cap because he knows he's going to take damage, and it's just too scary and too much of a risk to go in there. So I think the Des Moines is probably second overall for me this season. Although it is very situational, our Des Moines will range from doing no damage to doing a massive amount of damage. So it's not very consistent as you would kind of get from like a damage dealing class like the Hindenburg, the Zao, the Moskva. This ship is so situational. If you played rank last season, anything with radar like the Chappie, some games you'll do no damage, some games you'll be the MVP. So it's that situation though where you can lock down a cap, you have map control because of your radar, and can absolutely hold down an entire area just because of your ship and what it can do. If you can pop a radar, especially with the radar consumable, the radar is lasting for like almost a minute, and a minute of a DD being spotted is basically a dead destroyer, and 1 of 7 ships down, 1 of their destroyers, potentially all of their destroyers dead in that radar. So Des Moines is, in my opinion, is probably second overall. Third, I gotta give it to the Zao. We run a flank Zao. A lot of teams running 1 destroyer. They could run a Zao as a quote-unquote second destroyer because the only thing that's going to out-detect this with the lowest detection of any tier 10 cruiser outside, I guess, of the Minotaur. But the Minotaur is the Minotaur. And the Zao is basically going to out-detect everything else. So you can use this as a quote-unquote second destroyer. You're going to out-detect every cruiser. You can run the flank. This thing is extremely stealthy, extremely good, and it's a very good roll ship. I think the best roll ship. Our loadout right now, I think, is Montana, 2 Gearings, 2 Hindenburgs, and a Zao, and a Des Moines. Is that too many ships? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, that's it right there. And that's what we are running. A Zao is perfect on the flank. We have a destroyer baby it and can use it with smoke, let it get out, and then basically control. And then everybody's worst nightmare, you have a flanking Zao that's able to cap, able to do massive salvos against a team that's potentially broadside. Insane HE, amazing AP, and the ability to just be a terror. I think the Zao is a great third strongest ship for this season. And if you And with the Zao, you can drop a destroyer, maybe bring one instead of two, and this can do a great job at doing that flank and rolling on, kind of controlling that side. Now, this is probably the biggest fall for me from last season. I thought the Mosfet was going to be one of the strongest, if not the strongest, last season, and I put it as 4th this season. Now, the Mosfet is a monster, right? It is an absolute monster. Insane DPM, the longest range radar for any tier 10 cruiser, and very, very narrow, extremely narrow, but it has the highest detection of any, I think higher than the Henry. Yeah, higher than the Henry. Highest detection of any tier 10 cruiser. Detection on a cruiser is very, very bad. It's also the longest of any tier 10 cruiser. It's about the size of a Montana. So this thing just gets absolutely punished. The armor on this, any battleship can just lol pen this if it is bow in, which most of them will end up doing, because if you give a broadside, you're a big ass cruiser, you're gonna die. So bow penning on this, we've had our Montana 3-sit a bow in Moscow and just obliterate it. Moscow's, although very, very scary, high DPM, you're gonna get the jump on it, that is for sure. These things, as I said, the Des Moines is very situational. This is even more situational than that. So the times where this thing is going to be extremely effective is less and less and less and less. I know a lot of teams are running maybe one of these. I find it very hard to kind of find a good position for this ship in a lot of maps, and although it can, there's a couple spots where you can put that in, it's very tough to consistently, it's going to sound weird, consistently be consistent, I guess. I don't know, different words there, but in most situations I wish I'd rather have a Hindenburg, and it would just be a better ship overall. Moscow, though, very effective if used right, but it has to be used right, and I don't think it's that easy to do it in every map and in every situation. So I like to go what's strong in every game and every match instead of what can be strong in certain matches. So that's why this thing has basically fallen down to 4th place for me. Although very, very good, can be extremely successful. If you have to compare it to the other three, I think I have to put it at 4th right now. The Henry, the French cruiser. This is going to be another fun ship. I found this ship very fun. In season 1, I played this ship a lot. You're kind of a troll ship. This thing is the Khabarovsk of the cruiser line. And what I mean by that is this thing is extremely, extremely, extremely fast. I think you're over 40 knots with speed boost. I think you get like 44 or something like that. It's nuts with flags and with speed boost. Super, super fast. A lot of teams, well, no, I guess not a lot of teams, but some teams are using this as a flanking ship, and it can be a massive pain in the ass. But again, I feel like this ship is more fun than useful. And really what it could bring to the team is a kind of an annoyance ship, a pestering ship. And that's fun and all, but honestly, if we see a Henry, we know that they're basically down a cruiser for a lot of it, because he can only put so much pressure on caps, because he does have a relatively high detection. He doesn't have the lowest trajectory, so that there's a bit of a loft on his arc, and can be kind of beat up and picked on by, let's say, a good Hindenburg and stuff like that, because it is an overall pretty big cruiser. Although very, very fun to play, I just don't think it's that effective in most metas, in most ways team play. But I do find it fun to play. This was a lot of fun in Season 1, and could be fun in Season 2. I just think it's tough to, replace this with a, replace a Hindenburg with this. Minotaur, by far the worst. I love this ship. In randoms, this thing is so much fun. The damage potential in randoms is so much fun, but everybody is way, way, way too damn accurate in clan battles. Every time we see a Minotaur, our Montana is just licking his lips and just wants to dev strike him off the planet. I think all of our guys, almost all of our guys, had a dev strike on, in like almost every ship, had a dev strike on a Minotaur. It's extremely good, but it is in randoms, but in clan battles, it's just way, 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 way too fragile and just gets blapped off the map. People are too good at shooting the smoke. People are way too accurate when it is radared, and most Minotaurs, if they last more than 5 minutes on the game, I'm surprised. All of these ships, of course, are different if CVs are in the game, but right now they aren't. So Minotaur, by far the worst for clan battles, just because it's way too fragile and people are way too good at shooting in the smoke. Finally, the destroyers. Now, this is going to really depend on playstyle, but I'm going to go off what I've seen so far. And right now, I got to give it to the gearing. Still the king of smokes, kind of, if you think about it, bringing in the Yu Yang. But still, longest smoke, Great torps, great guns, insane DPM out of it, and relatively low detection. I find it just a great balanced destroyer. We run two of these right now, but we are going to make a switch from one of them to something else. I find it just to be a good overall DD and overall just a strong ship to bring. A lot of these guys, the long smoke, you can bail a ship out, you can bail your battleship out. With that long smoke, it goes down for a long time and it stays for a long time, so that's amazing. If you do run, a lot of teams don't run the smoke meta, but it still does work, and the gear I think is just very, very, very strong. Now the second, I don't have the ship currently, but I think the second, and potentially, it depending on how you play it, is the Yu Yang. The Pan Asian DD tier 10. Now the reason why is this thing has one of the lowest, I think it actually is the lowest detection of 5.8 kilometers. So it may not seem like a lot compared to the gearing, but a gearing at 5.9 and this at 5.8, that means you'll get the first salvo off, which is massive. Now the gearing has 900 more life than you would. That's assuming survivability expert for both ships. And with everyone being as accurate as they are, getting that first salvo and getting that first detection off, giving your team the ability to get that salvo off on him, is massive. So taking a DD out of the game is huge. I feel like, I don't know what it is, I feel like whenever I shoot in Pan Asian DDs, I feel like their alpha damage is just higher, so these things are crazy good at ripping up enemy DDs. And of course, the deep water torps at 13.5 kilometers with the lowest detection at 0.8 kilometers. Now everybody's running sonar, we know that, and you can help detect the torps, but deep water torps are harder to detect. They're very fast and can be very, very effective. We've gotten some of our ships dev strike that were running sonar because they just couldn't move fast enough with the deep water torps because of the lower detection and everything. So Yu Yang I think is very strong. We're going to switch it up and probably roll one gearing, one Yu Yang, and I think that'll be really, really good. You know, shorter duration on their smoke, but they get them more often. This would be a perfect ship to then baby that Zhao, as I was talking about, from the side. You know, you get a Zhao running the flank, you get a Yu Yang running the flank, and then you're sending Torps and Zhao in, and the Yu Yang can baby the Zhao by smoking it up if he gets in trouble. That's like the perfect combo in my opinion. So a really, really good destroyer. One thing too, a lot of people are dropping, we can't see it because I don't have the ship purchased, but the Yu Yang is the only DD at tier 10 that has radar. So a lot of teams are dropping a radar cruiser for, let's say, another Hindenburg and running a Yu Yang with radar and having the ability to then radar a destroyer, giving its team that advantage, and then potentially pushing for that extra kill. Now it is a bit aggressive. Some teams are running two destroyers, one smoke, one radar, and being very effective that way. But the Yu Yang is kind of this what is this ship going to do? How big of an impact? Are people going to go to what they're comfortable with the gearing, or are they going to go with this kind of wild card of the Yu Yang and potentially just be the more of the aggressor getting that radar or the aggressive smokes, something like that? We're going to try it out. I think this ship has a lot of potential. I think it's an overall extremely good ship. Deep water torps. Downside is deep water torps can't hit destroyers, so that lucky torp. But most teams are running two or even one, so the ability to get a torp on a DD isn't that often. When it does, it's amazing, so you won't have that ability. But really getting an extra torp or two on a cruiser, on a battleship, forcing a flood, forcing a repair, is extremely, extremely good. Third, I gotta give it to the German DD. This is one of my favorite ships to play in randoms. And the Z52, being aggressive with this thing, fast reload on its torps, although only 10.5 kilometers on its range. It's still extremely good because they reload very quickly. Lower detection on the torps, not quite as low as the Pan Asian, but 1.4, which is lower than the, I believe the IGN and the USN. And still really good. AP is solid. If a destroyer is giving you broadside, you can get 4 or 5k salvos on them. So you do have a bit of a higher detection, so you will get detected first, but you have the ability to then run and get away. Main thing on this ship is its sonar is absolutely nuts. Good range, 5.8, almost 5.9 kilometers, so you could post up behind an island, sonar, your team could spot the ship and they could kill them without you even being detected. So 5.8 is very, very good, and it lasts a long time, especially if you're running the upgrade. Actually, don't even have it on the ship, but with it lasting longer. I think I have it on my Lo Yang from ranked battles. So the Z52 is pretty solid. I wouldn't call this a primary destroyer. I would potentially run this with 2 destroyers, with a gearing most likely as the primary. This is a secondary and being kind of that assisting ship. Same with the Shimakaze. I'm going to put that at number 4. because so many things have sonar, Shimakaze gets less and less effective, and it doesn't have the guns to really defend itself against a Gearing or a Z or a Yu Yang. So this is why the ship is so far down this list. A good secondary ship, I don't think you could ever run one Shima. I just don't think it's strong enough, and you don't really bring anything to the table. Your torps hit very hard, but you have to hit torps for them to do damage, and torp hits don't really happen that much when most likely 4 to 5 of the ships have sonar. So it's kind of tough. The Shima, I think, could be effective as a secondary destroyer, as well as the Z-52. But as a primary, I don't think you can run one Shima. I just don't think it's that effective enough. IGN destroyers just keep getting picked on, and again, it's going to be that low. I'm going to give it to the Kaba at 5. I think the Kaba, again, kind of like the Henry, is a very fun ship to play. I just don't think it's extremely effective. We ran against a clan that had 2 Kabas, and they were annoying, but we crushed them still. So, really, you just got to kind of live through it. People are too accurate. The Cab only has, what is the range on this with the artillery? 13.5. You get 3-4 Hindenburgs shooting at a Caba at 13.5. You're no longer going to have a Caba. So, fun ship, better in randoms than it is clan battles. That's where it's going to kind of fall out. And overall, I guess if you want to just kind of be a meme and go out there and have fun, Caba can be there for you. Overall, though, outside of the meta, I just don't think it's very effective. Last but not least is the Grozavo. I think one of the coolest looking destroyers at this tier, one of my least played tier 10s destroyers, but since there are no CVs in clan battles, this thing is way, way, way at the bottom. It doesn't bring anything to the table. It's literally worst at everything besides being an AA boat, and since there aren't any planes, it's not really a very good destroyer. It doesn't have better torps than the better torp boats. It doesn't have better guns than the gunboats. It doesn't out detect anything. It doesn't, all in all, this is a very fun ship to play, especially in randoms. You can be very troll, especially if there are CVs. You can have a massive AA rating. This is not even AA spec. It's almost a 70 rating as a destroyer with a consumable. If there were CVs, this thing would be way higher up on the board. But its guns, one thing it does, it has very low trajectory guns, and they can hit very hard. You'll beat the Gearing at longer range. You beat the Yu Yang at longer range because you're more accurate. But most of the DDs are going to play pretty passive and not just go gun for gun with you. So it really loses kind of some of its strength, whatever you want to call it. The Grozavo, I wish it could fit into the meta. I know people love to play this ship. I like to play this ship as well. It's just with the actual clan meta, if you do have a Grozavo, which it unfortunately is the rental destroyer for this patch, it's just, you're gonna just be up against a disadvantage against almost all the other destroyers for that actual role of playing a DD. But all right, and the best aircraft carriers, I'm just kidding, there are no aircraft carriers again for the second season in a row. I'm sorry, CV players. But really, that's my overall, guys, for the classes for Clan Battle Season 2. A lot of it is the same. I maybe changed up some of my order, and hope you guys are enjoying this Clan Battles. Again, probably best battleship, Montana. Best cruiser, by far the Hindenburg. Best destroyer, I gotta give it to the Gearing right now. Destroyers are a little bit of a cloudy area. There's a lot of room for interpretation for that. Me, I gotta probably give it to the Gearing, but there are some other destroyers that are very, very, very good. Again, this is just what I've seen, guys. Play style is gonna affect all kinds of stuff. If you're a Shima master, you're gonna be very effective in the Shima. If you're a Cab master, you're gonna be very effective in the Cab. Same with the Hindi, same with the Minnow. But this is just what I've seen and what I'm gonna kind of give advice to people. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below what you guys are playing this season. And let me know if you guys are enjoying clan battles. But that is it for me, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.